Hello everyone, this is Dr. Liv with New Insight Counseling, and thank you for joining me in another video. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, and thank you so much to my subscribers and supporters. Today's video is a part 2 of the narcissistic parent, and in this video I will be re-summarizing traits and characteristics of the narcissistic parent, but also specifically highlighting and emphasizing the importance of setting boundaries with them and how to set boundaries with them. Narcissistic parents often live vicariously through their children. They impose their unfulfilled dreams, expectations, and standards onto them. They struggle to realize and understand that it's not always about them, and that their ways are not always the best way. The narcissistic parent will stifle your autonomy and individuality. They feel entitled to your time and attention, often disregarding your personal boundaries and priorities. They may demand immediate responses to their needs and consider their needs and requests urgent and more important than your own commitments. Narcissistic parents may struggle with feelings of envy toward your positive attributes and achievements. And rather than celebrating your success, independence, or strength, the narcissistic parent feels threatened or diminished. This jealousy can extend to other important people in your life as well, as I discussed in the previous video. They will be jealous of your relationship with the other parent, with your friends, with other family members, your spouse, your significant other, and even your own children. They are also jealous of your personal attributes. In fact, they often tend to view your achievements as a reflection of their own inadequacies, and this leads to feelings of resentment. Rather than feeling pride in your accomplishments, the narcissistic parent may see them as a threat to their control, and they might undermine your confidence by highlighting your flaws or dismissing your successes. They will use guilt or manipulation to keep you dependent on them. They will react aggressively or passive-aggressively if you assert boundaries or prioritize your own life over their demands. For example, they'll tell you how to parent and discipline your children, how to manage your household, finances, relationship, business, and so on, and will expect for you to always take their advice and always do what they tell you to do. Some narcissistic parents view their children not as individuals to nurture, but as competitors to outperform. Rather than celebrating your achievements or showing empathy with your struggles, they may downplay your efforts and frame themselves as superior. And examples of this can include, they'll make statements such as, "I did better than that when I was your age," or "When I went through that, I handled it without any help." They will dismiss your successes by emphasizing their own experiences or shifting focus back to themselves. They will try to one-up you, constantly trying to prove that they've achieved more, suffered more, or handled situations better than you. And it is this competitive dynamic that can undermine your confidence and make you feel like nothing you ever do is enough. And it creates a toxic cycle where the parent consistently elevates themselves while devaluing your experiences. And this is a common theme with a lot of narcissists in relationships with them. Narcissistic parents often crave validation and admiration. They may try to monopolize the spotlight, dismiss or undermine your accomplishments, as we stated previously. They will redirect attention back to themselves. For example, they may downplay your achievements, attribute them to their sacrifices or guidance. They will sabotage your relationships by creating conflict, even spreading negativity or criticizing your choices. They will express resentment if others praise you instead of them, because they expect to be the central figure of recognition in the family. And the way you break this cycle, the key is to understand the patterns. This is the first step towards healing. Recognizing that their actions are rooted in their own insecurities and not your shortcomings. And this can help you learn to start detaching emotionally and setting healthy boundaries. Here are some examples of breaking the cycle. Number 1, acknowledge your worth. Celebrate your accomplishments and learn to validate your own feelings, even if your parent cannot or will not. Number 2, set boundaries. Clearly communicate limits and enforce them when they try to dismiss or compete with you. Number 3, seek support. Build relationships with empathetic individuals who do respect and validate your emotions. Number 4, prioritize self-care. Focus on activities and practices that foster your emotional well-being and independence. Setting boundaries with narcissistic parents can be challenging, but it is essential for protecting your emotional well-being, independence, and sense of self. Narcissistic parents may resist or react negatively to boundaries because they perceive them as threats to their control or importance. However, with patience and consistency, you can establish healthy limits. So here are some points to be mindful of when you're establishing healthy boundaries. Number 1, you want to understand that boundaries are necessary and important. Many people give a negative connotation to boundaries and see them as wrong or bad. But boundaries are limits that define what behaviors are acceptable to you and unacceptable in your relationships. Boundaries communicate your needs, they protect your emotional space, and assert your right to autonomy. Number 2, recognize the parent's tactics. Narcissistic parents often use, as we stated, manipulation, guilt, or anger to maintain control. So be aware of these tactics, such as guilt tripping, playing the victim, gaslighting, and using anger or throwing emotional outbursts and tantrums to intimidate or gain control. With guilt tripping, they may say something such as, "After everything I've done for you, how can you treat me this way?" Playing the victim, they'll exaggerate their sacrifices to make you feel indebted. With gaslighting, they'll deny their behavior or make you question your own thoughts and feelings. And then again, anger and the trauma or tantrums, they will use emotional outbursts to intimidate or regain control. So understand and recognize the parents' tactics. Number 3, clearly define your boundaries. Identify the specific areas where you need to set boundaries. For example, with your time, you may have to limit the amount of time you spend together or when they can contact you. With your communication with them, setting rules for how they speak to you. For example, no yelling, criticizing, or dismissing your feelings. Set clear emotional boundaries by refusing to engage in guilt tripping, manipulation, or oversharing of personal issues. And then you want to define your physical boundaries. Protect your personal space and your privacy. Number 4, communicate assertively with them. When you're discussing your boundaries, use clear, calm, and respectful language. Avoid over-explaining or justifying your decisions. For example, you just tell them, "I need to take care of myself, so I can't answer calls during work hours. I'll call you back when I'm free." Or another example, "I understand you're upset, but I won't engage in this conversation if you raise your voice or insult me." Stick to I statements to avoid sounding accusatory, which can provoke anger and defensiveness. Number 5, stay consistent. Consistency is key when dealing with narcissistic parents because they will test your boundaries repeatedly to see if they can regain control and manipulate. And each time they push back, Calmly and firmly restate your boundary without engaging in any arguments or explanations. Number 6, manage your expectations. And we talked about this yesterday with revising the expectations. Narcissistic parents may never fully respect your boundaries or acknowledge their behavior. So accepting this reality can help you learn to let go of the need for their approval or validation and focus on enforcing your boundaries for your well-being and not changing their behavior. That's the wrong focus. And number 7, limit engagement. In some cases, maintaining emotional distance may be necessary. And this could mean using the gray rock method, for example, where you just remain neutral and unresponsive to any type of drama or emotional outbursts or manipulation. Reducing contact, limit the frequency of interactions, or opting for shorter, more structured visits. And also, in extreme cases, you may have to go no contact. Cutting ties may be the best option for your mental health, and especially if there is abuse, exploitation, you definitely need to protect yourself. So the gray rock method, reducing contact, or going no contact. So thank you so much. I hope this helps. Please leave your comments down below, and we will talk soon.